Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Burlington Red Devils.
Welcome to Varsity Field for some Red Devil action. Here's the start of kickoff as that one's fair caught. I'm Joe Viscioni alongside Nick Bongiorno as the Red Devils are underway and taking off against the Watertown Red Raiders. The Burlington Red Devils coming into this match are 3-1, coming off a tough 44-14 loss against the Stoneham Spartans, in which quarterback Kyle Pena struggled mightily for the first time this year. Nick, tell me what you saw from the Red Devils offense that had such a tough time at getting into the end zone that game.
Well, the Stoneham defense did a great job of eliminating Jake Doherty. Nothing at the line of scrimmage. Were able to pass, protect pretty well on the offensive side. But for the Kyle Pena, he wants a bounce-back game through 2 interceptions, not one he wants. I think he'll come out with a gutsy performance tonight.
Here's Pena, gives a handoff up the middle to Doherty, who's wrapped up for about 3 or 4 yards up the middle on the carry.
And also, Joe, not going to lie, I think the last game, when we're still analyzing it, wasn't as much about the offense couldn't produce. It was more about Burlington's defense that was on the field for way too long. Stoneham ran the ball down their throats. Burlington could not stop it, so I want to see how they bounce back on defense tonight as well.
Back to Doherty once again as he lowers the shoulder and gets down across the 41-yard line, picking up the first down of the ball game for the Red Devils. As the Red Devils continue to go and hurry up offense, we didn't see this much type of personnel and speed from the Red Devils last week. McCulley is the fullback. And off to Doherty once again to the left. Cuts back into the middle and wrapped up by number 75, Chris Peterson. Despite that, 5-yard carry for Doherty.
Good to get Jake Doherty in the game immediately. You want to get him running about. And that's always going to cause the defense a little bit of problems because then they have to worry about play action pass. see how the defense is able to hold Burlington at about midfield right now in the first drive.
Doherty staying back on the field as an every down back that he is. Feed it to the beast as he picks up the extra yardage flag on the field after the hit. Looked like he lowered the shoulder there. Let's wait to see what the call is from the referees. As it looks to be against the offense. Holding against the offense, that's going to be a 10-yard penalty for the Red Devils. Bring up a 2nd and 16. So the Red Devils, they struggled with penalties in their first game of the season against the Buccaneers, committing 5 holding penalties, already showing signs of committing fouls early. And Nick, we speak a lot of this Red Devil offense, but the defense is really what gave the coaching staff fits, at least for Burlington, as here's Doherty on the carry out of bounds, stays in bounds across the 45-yard line, picks up about 9 on the carry. So despite Doherty's big gain, Nick, Burlington's defense was just in disarray last game. They could not stop the run.
Absolutely not. I mean, when you run this, you get the same play run against you every time, and they just know you can't stop it. It's a formula for disaster. The Red Devils didn't have any answer to what they were doing last week for Stoneham. Dan McKay definitely had to have a talk with them about that.
5-man front. Here's the Devils.
Nice.
Dropping back is Pena on the bootleg. Fires over to his receiver, McCulley, who makes a big gain. Great hit. And Jake McCulley is gone. Beautiful block. And he is in for the Red Devils. Touchdown, starting off this game fresh and well. What about that block, Nick?
Eat my words up. Who was on the block? Ryan O'Halloran, I believe. Ryan O'Halloran. And that's funny because Ryan O'Halloran, I was saying that he should pass to him. He looked like he was breaking free of his man, and he could have lobbed it up to him. Instead, they go to McCauley. McCauley looks like he's not going to get anything except for a couple yards, and O'Halloran lays the boom. McCauley rolls right by. Touchdown, Devils, and it'll be a 7-0 lead right here.
Here's Cam Wheelock as the extra point is good and way over the fences. And Nick, we spoke about this earlier before the game started. If I were to tell you that Cam Wheelock would be kicking a 40-yard field goal in pregame at this point last year, you'd be saying, Joe, am I hearing you right? Did you put your hearing aid in?
Yeah, he's grown so much. He's a soccer player before. Decided, you know what, why not be a kicker? I have a big leg. He couldn't use it really last year in his first year. It's a technique. He's gotten the technique down. He was nailing 40-yard field goals, and that's really impressive. I don't know if they're going to try that out. The Devils do an offense in a game that you always usually go for and fourth down in the opponent's
It's definitely good to have a kicker that can really boom it downfield. And after a great offensive snap in which the Red Devils found the end zone for the first time of the night on their drive, Pena led the way for his team after a great catch and run by Jake McCulley that went just about 55 yards. Back deep is Brett Sutherland, the returner, 5'9", 150 pounds, so definitely not too much poundage on the scale, but probably has a lot of speed to bring it back. Now here's Wheelock. We've seen a lot of kickoffs from him. This one going far, back to about the 5. Here's the return. Good blocking up the middle.
Nothing.
And nowhere for this Red Raiders special teams return unit, as the Devils snuff that one out and stop it at the 26-yard line. And Nick, coming onto the field defensively, we spoke already about them into the game. The Red Devils really struggled, and what it comes down to is controlling the point of attack and establishing that you can stop the run on first and second downs.
Joe, exactly. And I also want to see how they face off against the quarterback, Nick McDermott. Last year, Nick McDermott, when we did the Watertown game in Watertown, he lit up the Burlington defense as well as the run, so they need to stop that.
Here's McDermott as an extra tight end set. One receiver to his right. Man in motion is number 10. That handoff is given, and he's brought down with Devils draped all over him across the 22-yard line. We don't have too much film on McDermott. As the Watertown Red Raiders, they're 1-2 coming into this game. Lost their last game 28-13 against the Melrose Marauders, while the Red Devils also coming off a loss last week in Stoneham against the Spartans.
Howard's playing pretty far off of his man. Let's see if they want to go to him here.
Well, now here's McDermott. Dropping back on the play action pass. Roaming to his right. Has a man in pursuit. Fires. That pass is incomplete. Way over the heads of his intended receiver, number 18, Kareem Monroe. So the Red Devils not allowing McDermott to go anywhere with that one, Nick. And that would be a good sign of life for this Devils team that has struggled so mightily in stopping the pass.
Yeah, their best defensive performance, the 16 points to Woburn offense. The Woburn offense did not do a very great job, to say the least, but Burlington was very efficient in that game in stopping the run and making sure that when they did pass, they weren't phased, they weren't caught off guard with play actions or so and so, pump fakes, and they were covering their men all the way. O'Halloran looked like he was playing off there, and they were actually going to try and go to him, but he made a good play at the end. It had to be a throwaway. See what happens here on 3rd down and 10.
Facing a 3rd and long with just about under 8 minutes remaining. Here's McDermott. Man in motion is number 54, extra receiver, dropping back. McDermott fires across the middle. That pass is knocked away, incomplete. Great PBU by number 4, Ryan Cohane. The slot receiver breaking it up there, Nick, and Burlington's defense has some life early.
Burlington's defense, great job. Immediately get off the field, put your offense right back on where they left off with Kyle Pena. And that was a great play. It looked like he had him open. Ryan O'Halloran jumps in there like Richard Sherman, says no. Not O'Halloran. Brian Culhane jumps in there like Richard Sherman. Just says, no way, sir. You ain't going to get that ball in there for a 1st down today. They got to punt away.
And head coach Dan McKay coming off a tumultuous start to his head coaching tenure. Last year, 1-10. Now here's the punt. Going to be fair caught by Ryan O'Halloran at the 48-yard line. So I just spoke about Dan McKay, Nick. 1-10 in his first year, but a 3-1 start for the Red Devils is their best since 2012. What have you seen from him, including his trust in his players, in the first 4 games of this season?
Well, last year, I don't think there was too much trust amongst anybody in the Burlington organization. Dan McKay's a new coach. Lots of people quit the team. It wasn't very good, and obviously no chemistry. Burlington went 1-10, only 1 win. And I think that they've gained that this year. You know, they didn't lose all the seniors, which is a huge part of it. They have them together, so the chemistry's building. Kyle Pena is a lot bigger man. He's a lot more mature now. And I think it showed here in his play, and Dan McKay's got his team off to a great start.
Here's the rush. Jake Doherty getting through the middle, and he's wrapped up the center despite picking up about 6 or 7 yards on the carry.
Jake, and that's another guy. Jake Doherty, people like that who can come in and lead the rest of the team, the sophomores and juniors who are in here, including new players like Matt Pinkham. He comes in, Pena, just his arm, and Doherty been leading it all the way.
Extra man is Jake McCauley, the fullback, leading the way. Gets an extra block, but Doherty is tackled just shy of the 45-yard line as the Red Devils go nowhere on that rush attempt. And the Red Devils facing a 3rd and short situation back in the no huddle. Jogging onto the field is Ryan Culhane, joined by Matt Pinkham to his right.
Yep, last year in the Watertown game, Ryan O'Halloran and Kyle Pena, one of the bright spots of that offense last year, and Kyle Pena's really good game. They connected for 2 touchdowns, which actually tied the game. They wanted to lose, but it was a nice out. Let's see what they can do here on 3rd down and 4.
Here's Pena dropping back. Runs to his right, fires on the screen to McCauley, who picks up the 1st down, wrapped up by the ankles and down across the 35-yard line.
Similar play to the touchdown they scored with Jake McCauley. Obviously, that was a lot better play because O'Halloran was able to get the block. No one was able to get a block in there, so his man was able, on the defensive line, was able to just tackle and wrap him up for no more gain after the 1st down. So Burlington definitely still doing a good job to move the chains and take some time off the clock. It's always good for to let their defense rest, which has not been as proficient this year.
And the Red Devils offense, led by offensive coordinator Pat McGee, has to be pretty happy with his unit so far. Here's Pena dropping back. Fires deep ball downfield for O'Halloran, who drops the ball intended for O'Halloran, as I believe the cornerback who was in coverage got his hand in there, but
I don't know
most of that blame has to fall onto Ryan O'Halloran, who just makes the drop. Great pass by Pena, though.
Pena, he and O'Halloran have a great connection right there. Ryan O'Halloran knew the route to run. Did a good job of that, breaking off his man. He's a very speedy player. Pena with the dime. You just got to catch those. He's had too many drops this year.
And lacking the concentration. Here's the handoff for Doherty. Doherty
Nice hole,
picking
nice
up some
hole,
yardage,
that's
and
touchdown.
Jake Doherty is gone. No surprise as he is into the end zone for his first score of the night, as the Devils take a commanding 3-0 lead with just about 6 minutes left in the first quarter.
Jake Doherty, how many times are we going to say it this year? Jake Doherty busts up the middle. Offensive line makes a good hole. Something they were unable to do the last really 2 weeks for him. I mean, like the first game, up the middle, power running, agility, speed, has had it all along, and he gets the Burlington Red Devils up by a pair.
Here's the kick, nearly blocked as Wheelock gets it to Bang.
Oh, one of his first misses.
No
of the year.
good. Slightly to the right. That's his first miss of the season. Excuse me, his second. He got one blocked in the Bedford Buccaneers game to start out the season.
Yeah,
Nonetheless,
just
the
went
Red
a little bit right, Joe. A little bit right.
Nonetheless, the Red Devils go 2 for 2 on their opening drives offensively, proving to be a dominant force that we know them this year.
And on that, just analyzing that last kick, the pressure got to him. He might have just caused a little bit disturbance in his kicking motion. And his kick, went to the right upright. So unfortunate there for Burlington, but everything else has been spotless, and they're going to win the game no matter if Wheelock misses 1,000 field goals based upon how they are playing right now. Watertown needs to respond here. McDermott, either the run game, no matter what it is, they need a play to get themselves back in this.
And Jake Doherty, the feature back for the Red Devils, has a chance to join some elite ranks for the Red Devils offense. In past years, led by running backs Sinead Guerrier. We had also, along with that, Zach Sear, and next to that line could be Jake Doherty. Now here's the run back on the kickoff. Great play by the Red Devils special teams unit, making the tackle up the middle is, I believe, number 34, Nick Campbell. Yes, it is. As this Watertown Red Raider offense jogs onto the field for the second time tonight after coming up short on the 3-and-out to start this last drive. Now here's Nick McDermott, 5'10", 157. Not the frame you'd imagine from your franchise quarterback, but if the Cleveland Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield can prove anything, height really doesn't matter when it comes to football.
And
Man in motion is 34. McDermott drops back. Here's the carry, and he's wrapped up across the 33-yard line. That was Shaquille Innis on the carry as the Red Devils stopping the run on that play. Something that they've been struggling with all season, especially versus the Spartans. And Nick, a lot of that will have to come from defensive tackle and nose tackle John Magata, who's really going to need to soak up the extra blockers and allow his team to run free across the defensive line. Here's McDermott, has Innis in the backfield. Back to Innis, who cuts left, and he's wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage. Great tackle for loss by the Red Devils, and that's going to force a 3rd and 6.
There you go, Joe. You just talked about him. The big man, Johnson Magata, getting in there, making the tackle. And Burlington didn't get fooled at all. They thought maybe with the overload on the right that they were going to go for that way. Burlington unfazed. Go to the left, stuff him for no gain, and now sets up a critical 3rd down for Watertown, who really need it even with this early in the game. You
know, it's pretty rare when you get a nose tackle of 270 pounds in the high school level that can soak up the blockers, but even better when he can make the tackle after shedding the blocks. Now here's McDermott, already 0 for 1 on 3rd down.
Looking like they're blitzing.
Here comes the A-gap blitz. McDermott's going to run it himself. And he's wrapped up but picks up the 1st down. Tackle made by Magata across the 38-yard line. So late pressure provided by the Red Devils. Nonetheless, the chains get moving for the first time of the night.
Watertown needed that. You cannot go 3-and-out again. Give the ball right back to the Arlington offense. The defense for Burlington has to stay out on the field if you're a Watertown player right now. And you need to let Burlington get out of rhythm, because Burlington's offense is in huge rhythm right now. If you keep on the sideline, it switches the whole momentum of this, and especially, honestly, want to score right here.
Here's Nick McDermott, has a stacked backfield, one man in motion, fakes it over to number 18.
Oh, nice run.
Who's going to be wrapped up across the 45-yard line. That was Kareem Monroe on the carry. who picks up about 5 to 6 yards. So already this Watertown Red Raider offense showing a lot of counter and power sweeps, trying to get their running back the balls in a variety of different ways, Nick.
Yeah, whether that be passing the ball to him out of the backfield or just handing it off, either way is going to work at this point. Burlington, they have not really tried that passing game after that one incomplete pass. Two, excuse me. One obviously was broken up, and the other one was forced out of bounds. So Burlington doing a good job in that aspect.
Forcing a 2nd and 4. Here's the carry for number 34
up
the middle. And he gets tripped up by the legs by Jake Doherty, bursting over to make the touchdown-saving tackle. That was number 44, Andrade, on the carry as he bursts into Red Devil territory.
Had me fooled. Jake Doherty, I probably should not open my mouth when Jake Doherty's on that field. It looked like he had a huge hole. He looked like he was going to take the distance. Jake Doherty closes him down. It was just outrunning him, and he goes down low to make the block and saving tackle of the touchdown and give his defense another attempt at stopping this Watertown offense that is pouncing on them at the moment.
McDermott coming to the line of scrimmage has Shaquille Anis to his left, 2 receivers to his left, extra tight end to his right. Here's McDermott. Sees the 4-man rush, plenty of time. Escapes to his left, runs it himself, and he's going to be wrapped up and stuffed by the Red Devils linebacker, led by number 34, Nick Campbell, I believe. No, number 46. Yep, Nick Campbell on the tackle as he picks up about 5 yards on the rush.
This is what you don't see from quarterbacks enough in the NFL, in fact. Kirk Cousins yesterday lost the game for the Vikings by not stepping up in the pocket. If you have space, you have a hole, step up in the pocket, you're going to get some yards. Even if you take a hit, he gets more open down the field. And he actually, even with that big hit, Burlington fans cheer. They shouldn't, because he gained a good 6 yards.
Here's a McDermott staring down at this wary Red Devil defense. Flag on the field. Looks to be against the offense. Yep, that's going to be a false start, 5-yard penalty against Watertown, bringing it back to a 2nd and 10 for the away team. As a water bottle splatters off the field. I guess that's why John Magada isn't a receiver and instead is a nose tackle.
He spiked that thing on the ground.
Trying to make Gronkowski proud.
Yeah.
Now jogging back onto the field after that offsides penalty is the Red Raiders. 2 receivers on the field, led by Monroe.
Yep, they're going
1 man in the slot.
Again, this time to the right.
Ryan Culhane is your slot corner. Pressure
blitz.
up the middle. Great pressure on the quarterback as that pass is caught, nearly bobbled. Tackle made by number 34 on the Red Devils, Phil Nurse, across the 26-yard line.
Great play right there. But Watertown, in fact, getting themselves in a manageable third down from 3rd and 10. Burlington brought the spy right there, trying to send them in to try and sack the quarterback. The quarterback ran to the right, and he got a nice pass off.
What? No. Now coming to the line of scrimmage, back is the Red Raiders. Anis in a 3-point stance in the backfield. Man in motion, fakes it over to Monroe, and Anis is going to be wrapped up shy the 21-yard line as he picks up another first down for the Red Raiders, moving it with just under 9 seconds remaining as the clock is going to continue to tick down. As the first quarter comes to an end, as the Red Devils lead 13-0 over the Watertown Red Raiders in what was a quick first quarter. Nick, in the first quarter, we saw the Red Devils dominate offensively, but so far, their defense has been struggling, especially on this drive.
The defense did a good job to get off the field at first. They had him in a 3rd down once again. That could have ended the drive right then and there, but Watertown's quarterback stayed in there. He got the first down himself, and now they're driving. Burlington cannot be fazed by getting up that first down. They cannot just let them gain all the momentum back. So what you want to do here is, obviously on the first down, it's actually great time, first down, rather than having it a 4th down where it's a more critical place and you have all this confusion about what play they might run. It's about a series at this point. and that's better to talk about so they can discuss, okay, what do you think they've done so far in this drive? Run, pass, play action, shotgun mode, what sets they're running, 2 receivers to the right or left, just pounding it. We'll see how they come out here and try and get a touchdown on Burlington, see how Dan McKay wants his defense to go out and try and stop this.
Jogging onto the field is this Red Devil defense, and on that last play, getting some great interior pass rush, led by senior defensive tackle Andrew Woods, along with junior Chris Jones, who also has made a name for himself, being a starter on this offensive and defensive line since his freshman year, back when there was a different head coach. Now here's McDermott. Man in motion is number 18. Dropping back, gives it over to Anis up the middle, and he's wrapped up at the line of scrimmage as the Red Devils collide upon Anis, making a great tackle for loss.
Yep, the handoff did not work that time. Burlington make a 2nd down and 10, and that's exactly what Dan McKay wants. Don't want them to get those big chunks of yardage in the first down and 2nd down, which allows them for an easy play call on 3rd and 4th down.
Thomas Porter, the sophomore defensive tackle, a situational run stopper on 1st and 2nd down, coming in to make the tackle for this defensive front. As the Red Devils employing a 4-man rush, slot corner in there as well in the nickel formation. Dropping back, here's Anis on the power play, straight up the middle as he picks up a couple yards down at the 25-yard line.
Nick Campbell again with the stop. He's very, very muscular, very, very powerful man who's able to stop people even if they're going full speed, and that's one of his greatest attributes. Right there, with the 3rd down and 5, it's a good play to get 5 yards there. That's not what Dan McKay wanted, as we just talked about. They want to make it more manageable situations, wanted to stop it there, but the offensive line just overpowered them and was able to get in a nice little agile movement, and see what happens here. And
Anis, when there's no blocking, making his presence felt. Double tight end set rather. Here's McDermott, avoids one rush, still on his feet, and he is wrapped up down inside the 20-yard line. Nonetheless, bringing up a 4th down. Nick, despite the Red Devils making the tackle, McDermott proving to be pretty agile on that carry.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to get sacked one time. It looks like he can get sacked another time, just escapes it, spins, twirls. Burlington eventually did see he was not going to go anywhere and not throw the ball, so they just all gathered up on him. He had nowhere else to go, and they're going to go for it on 4th down here with not, probably this time with the loss of yards, they're not a set quarterback run.
Last time I saw a quarterback evade those rushes was Sal Freelick last year in the Thanksgiving Day game against the Red Devils, in which he rushed for over 250 yards as a quarterback, one of the most I've ever seen. Now here's McDermott trying to make his a name for himself. Avoids a rush yet again, tosses that pass to his receiver who makes a reception, nonetheless downed at the 10-yard line. And that's going to be a turnover on downs as the Red Devils defense proves to be too much.
He's got some moves. McDermott's got some moves. Again, Burlington brings the blitz. 2 guys around him, just able to avoid one. Has his eyes downfield all the way. It's actually good quarterback play. His ball is thrown, couldn't be caught by his receiver, and it's 4th down. That's a kind of a killer right now. Just going to give Burlington complete momentum still, rather than getting some back.
It was a good read by the Red Devils linebackers there as they were pretty much playing in zone. Once they saw that the quarterback was going to run it, they pretty much just went in for the late blitz, and that pretty much overwhelmed McDermott in the end. Now here's Pena. Pena last week showed a lot of poise in the pocket. Now here's Doherty outside. Doherty gets past one man before being wrapped up across the 31-yard line. And Nick, we spoke about this before pregame, and I really noticed this last week. Kyle Pena really developing as a quarterback. He had 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, so not the greatest stat sheet, but he really was able to stand in the pocket, take the big hits, and deliver down the field.
Yeah, he took some big hits. He was staying in there. That was one of the things. Even though he didn't play his best game, we gave him credit, because sometimes the hardest things to do is to stay in a game that you're getting hit or you're losing badly, and he did. And I think that the coach admired that. The coach got him ready for this week, and he's been playing better right now. They've had 2 runs right now that aren't that good, setting up 3rd and sort of long, but Burlington's going to have some confidence here.
So after that carry, Doherty, forward progress, will mark him around the 22-yard line. Coming onto the line of scrimmage in a cover one defense is the Red Raiders, as Kyle Pena trying to pick this apart. Had a couple fits with it last week against the Stoneham Spartans as they ran a similar system. Here's Pena under center, has McCauley jog back to his left in the pistol, dropping back. Pena looking downfield, pressured and fires it out of bounds. And Pena trying to create more, but his receiver Ryan O'Halloran, which is covered up deep downfield.
Yep, and we saw, Joe, if you also noticed, I believe that is Sean Pinkham was also covered up beautifully by Nick McDermott, the quarterback, playing great at quarterback as well, and they're going to keep the offense on them.
Shockingly enough, here's Pena go for it on 4th down at the 22-yard line. Wasn't too sure about that.
You would punt this away, wouldn't you, Joe?
I think
you have a 13-0 lead. Why give them any momentum? You're giving them a short field. Anything, I would make them go down the field and try and win this game.
I think if you really want to be risky with it, you have a 13-point lead with about 7 minutes remaining in the second quarter. You could go for it, but
down and distance is manageable.
But coaches in the past that have gone for it in this field situation have not fared out too well with the front office above them, at least in NFL and collegiate levels. So McKay keeps the offense back onto the field, having immense trust in his quarterback, Kyle Pena. Doherty's in the formation alongside with him. And a surprising turn of events for the Red Devils as their offense is back on the field. You know, Nick, when I originally saw them, I thought that they'd just be trying to draw an offsides or an encroachment penalty. Now here's Pena. And he's going to punt it to no surprise.
They knew it. They knew it. They did it to him.
Down at the 42-yard line. We saw that a few times
they did their
in the game 3 weeks ago against the Buccaneers, Nick.
Joe, they did their homework at Watertown. They knew it was coming. They sent someone back deep just for this play. They see Pena drops back a little bit, so they send the guy down deep. They saw him do it many times before. They think, how on earth are they possibly going to take the risk of going and setting themselves up down at their own 20-yard line and losing that? So, good play, and they're not going to get pinned back any deep. They have ball with pretty good field position and a chance to now gain back what they didn't get last time on 4th down.
So that being a 30-yard punt, not too far for Pena. Definitely had the hang time, but could not get it to roll down the field as the Red Raiders step back onto the field, led by McDermott. As Nis in the backfield with him to his left. Man in motion is 34. Here's the handoff over to Andrade as he picks up extra yardage and down near the 50.
They do like the run where they have someone in motion. They just do the old Tom Brady to Brandon Cooks thing last year, where have the quarterback grab it, swing it out to the hands of someone else. See how many yards you can get with seeing it the block and develop faster. They definitely think that their blocks are developing a little bit slowly, so they want to see if with that little time in between the quarterback does give it to them, if they can get a hole, and they almost did. They got a good pickup of 6 yards.
So Andrade on the jet sweep there picks up about 6 on the carry with just about 6 minutes remaining in the second quarter. If you're tuning into this game, I'm Joe Viscioni alongside Nick Bongiorno for some Red Devil football action. Now here's McDermott. Faces it on the play action, fooling the Red Devils line of scrimmage. First down and more, and down across the 40. Boy, Nick, he fooled the entire Red Devils defensive line on that one.
He didn't. He might have fooled them a little bit, definitely. They all got their ankles broken, it seemed like, on that play, physically and also when they tried to cut back. They all thought that the ball was going off to someone else because of the jet sweep they did so many times. That's what happens when you do the same play. You get people thinking it's going to be that play again. You don't. You hold it back. The whole Burlington defensive line falls down with some good blocks as well. And he sees only open field in front of him with his receivers taking the people in coverage down the field. And a nice pickup for first down.
Ball down at the 40-yard line as the Red Devils defense gets some chant from their fan section. Here's McDermott, has an in the backfield once again. Hands it off to Andrade, but a flag is on the field. False start as it looks to be against the offense. So Watertown hit with their second false start penalty of the ball game as nose tackle John Magada jogs off to the sideline. That's going to bring up a 1st and 15 for this menacing Watertown front. in this game so far. The Red Devils are yet to allow the Red Raiders into the end zone, as it has to be led by number 34, Nick Campbell, who's made some great plays at the second level. As Campbell and Doherty lead a very impressive linebacking core, which is with Campbell and McGilvery. Fakes the handoff, dropping back. McDermott fires over to his man across the left sideline, makes a man miss, and downed just near the 42-yard line.
Just trying to gain the yards back right there. Yeah, it looked like he had an option either to go deep down the field if he wanted to. It was covered up well, so he didn't want to take his chances of an interception. Just went back across the field and got his team back into a better position, I guess.
The strong safety, Jake McCauley, coming over to make the tackle. Last year was named as one of the only 3 Red Devils MIAA All-Stars, as he proved to be fantastic when in zone and covering backs out of the backfield. So far has limited a miss when catching passes to only 1 catch for 3 yards. Now here's McDermott in the shotgun as Anis to his right with 2 receivers, extra tight end set. Facing the rush. McDermott steps up, and he's going to be dropped just around the line of scrimmage. Wrapped up by number 20, John Hurley.
That was beautiful pressure by Burlington. Absolutely nowhere to step up into. They went around the outside easily. He tried to push up into that pocket. All that was waiting for him there was some more defenders. Beautiful by Burlington. And really doing a good job this year on the pass rush. Last year, all day for the quarterback to throw. They've improved that mightily with Demike.
And one of the struggles for the Red Devils early in this season and last year, as you spoke about it, Nick, was the edge rush right there, definitely providing a spark, as we hope to see edge rushers Luke Lord and Tommy Spagunis out on the creases to continue to get after the quarterback. Now here's McDermott facing a 3rd and 13. Man in motion is Coronade. Drops back, fires over to his man.
Nowhere to go.
And he is going to be wrapped up across the 40-yard line, completed to Andrade.
Watertown's not picking up the blitzers. They're not picking up anybody right now. They're just running freely to the quarterback. Quarterback has to get off immediately. Burlington has it all covered up. Pretty much no gain, and now 4th down and long.
So the Red Devils looking like they sure did their research on this Red Raider offense. They've only garnered less than 20 points per game in all 3 of their contests this year. Of course, coming off a 28-13 loss against the Melrose Marauders, who lead this division, sitting atop at 4-0. Next is Stoneham. And right around there is the Red Devils at 3-1, trying to advance to 4-1. The Red Devils getting some chants from their fan section. It's great to see them alive. Haven't seen this many people at a game in a long time, as a timeout is on the field.
Smoke right now. They might be doing that little thing they've been doing in the towns for the past week. The home teams, they throw the white powder in the air.
I will say, though, last time that the Red Devils threw white powder in the air, there was a couple of people were kicked out of the ball game. So hopefully it's not repeating itself once again. Just 2:21 remaining if you're tuning in. The Red Devils currently sit atop this ball game 13-0, led by Kyle Pena and his offensive weapons, including Jake McCauley and Jake Doherty, the pair of Jakes leading the way for this offense, while the Red Devils defense has been pitching a shutout so far in this first half. Nick, what have you seen from this Red Devil team that's been so impressive early?
Well, last year, everything was not impressive. We cannot reiterate that enough. As really, this is fun with the crowd getting back into it, and they're throwing some Patriots music for 4th and 3rd down. But Burlington, everything been better offensively, defensively, stopping the run, getting pressure on the quarterback, and I think that they're just going to have to punt it away right now, knowing that this is not probably going to be manageable 4th down.
So 4th and 10.
They want to do a fake they can, they're not.
By McDermott. Ball bouncing inside the 10-yard line, takes a good tumble.
Nice punt.
Down across the 7 or 6-yard line as the Red Devils offense will jog onto the field for what looks like their last offensive possession of the night. And Kyle Pena has been dominant so far. A lot of that has to come to this play calling by Dan McKay and Pat McGee leading this offense. Dan McKay, surprised to see him so comfortable in this offense after being a defensive coordinator for Lexington High School for 2 years and then special teams coordinator for Bill Ricca. Along with assistant coaches for the Red Devils are Kevin McDonough, Pat McGee, Michael McCarthy, Brennan Lovelace, and Daniel Murphy, the secondary coach. Now here's the Red Devils, 1st and 10. Pena hands it to Doherty once again outside on the left sideline, and he's going to be wrapped up for what looks to be a 2-yard gain. And number 70, Joe Griffin, swooping in to make the tackle, the 220-pound defensive end, making the play around the line of scrimmage, forcing a 2nd and 7 for the Devils. 2-minute warning reached. Here's Burlington. Pena showing some signs of improvement, dropping back, looking deep. Pena fires across to a wide open Ryan O'Halloran, down to cross the 33-yard line. Great route run by him. And the Pena to O'Halloran connection continues to grow game after game.
And on the Watertown side, it's a nightmare for the Watertown Red Raiders, and Kyle Pena to Ryan O'Halloran. O'Halloran gets way open right there. All Pena really has to do is throw a semi-decent ball. O'Halloran, as he drops some passes, good for him to get some confidence back with that catch.
Man in coverage was Brendan Cook. Was looking for outside leverage, but O'Halloran was just going inside. Now here's the pass, fired to O'Halloran once again. Makes a man miss and wrapped up short of the 50-yard line, showing that agility that we know him to have. The 3-sport star making 2 fantastic receptions for the Red Devils as they take a timeout, stopping the clock.
Yep, Joe, beautiful pass protection as well. I believe we did a game in Wilmington last year where Kyle Pena might have broken the record for Burlington in sacks in terms of how many times he got sacked and got hit. It was really ridiculous. Every play he was basically fighting for his life. And that pass protection right there to Ryan O'Halloran, you see 2 people being blocked up on both edges, not being able to get to him. They push him to the side so that they can't get to Kyle Pena. Kyle Pena, beautiful ball to O'Halloran. O'Halloran makes a move, gets some extra yards as you're supposed to do. Burlington calls time out, running up the drive and trying to maybe, even though it's hard to say a dagger, how they've been playing so well, it'd be hard to see the kind of Watertown Red Raiders coming against this team from like 20 points, 3-score game down. So they really need to stop right here and maybe even get the ball back before halftime. They do receive the second half kickoff too, so that's a big bonus, as in the Watertown Red Raiders. But they have to not let this game get to 3 scores. Have to find someone who's going to make a play.
And this offense back onto the field for receiver set. Here's Kyle Pena back onto the field, full receiver set, no extra blocker, loading the line of scrimmage. 4-man rush. Pena steps up in the pocket. He's going to run it himself, lowering the shoulder, and rumbles down across the 41-yard line, taking a low late hit.
Steps up in that pocket again. We talked about it. Step up in the pocket when you have a chance. Good things happen.
The Red Devils operating in a no-huddle offense. Not hurrying to the line of scrimmage too much, though. Jake McCauley on the outside perimeter as one of the main receivers. Here's Watertown, 6-man rush, dropping back. Pena pressured, fires downfield. That pass is incomplete over the extended hands of Ryan O'Halloran. Man in coverage was number 18, Kareem Monroe, who stops that play, forcing an incompletion, bringing up a 3rd and 3 rather, for the Red Devils. And
it looked like he was going to get strip sacked, Joe. Someone was rushing off the edge behind him, almost got their hand on his before he used his pass. His pass was able to get off, and unfortunately O'Halloran was completely covered up.
In the pistol, dropping back. Here's Pena, fires on the screen over to Doherty, and he's going to be wrapped up. Ball popped loose at the end, but he's going to be ruled down at, I believe, the 47-yard line, bringing up a 4th down as the clock continues to tick below 1 minute. as the Red Devils are most likely going to go for this one.
It's high school football. You're going to go for it here. I believe in Kyle Pena right now to try and get this first down, possibly close out the first half.
4th and 6 for Burlington as the Red Devils decide to take a timeout. McKay trying to discuss this offense with his junior quarterback, as getting up to 20 points at halftime would be a significant lead and empowering for this Red Devil offense. Coming up on the Red Devils football schedule next week, they'll be playing Wakefield at their varsity field. Wakefield being a very tough team. The Red Devils have not won there in the 4 years that I've been covering sports for Red Devil football. Hopefully next week we'll get a change in that stat line. Now back onto the field, led by Pena in this mammoth offensive line group.
I don't know if they're going to have Campbell come out here and pin them down deep and really limit the chances of Watertown, but I don't think they're thinking that. I think that they have lost confidence in the defense to stop them anyway.
You know, you got 21.
That they're going to just have rather be like, all right, you know what, let's try and put this game away and score a touchdown here.
You got 21 seconds left. Here's Pena dropping back. Late rush. Pena fires across the middle. Pass too high, falls incomplete, nearly into the hands of a Watertown defender. Intended for number 4, Ryan Culhane, his 3rd target of the night. And that's a turnover on downs as the Red Raiders recover across the 46-yard line.
Well, what you do by not punting there, now you give them a little chance at a Hail Mary. Not a great chance, but a chance nonetheless, rather than being pinning them back down deep and forcing them to kneel the ball into halftime. We'll see. Anything can happen.
Well, don't worry, Nick. I don't think you'll see any Hail Marys because especially at the high school level, they really don't like to do an NFL type of rush by only rushing 3 at the quarterback. They tend to rush about 5 or 6 or maybe even more to kind of make it a screen, if you will. So I assume that we'll see a couple check downs from McDermott, as he's not had too much confidence in this game offensively, throwing the football. Monroe back onto the field, along with Hamad. Here's McDermott dropping back, faces the rush up the middle by Magada, escapes to his left. Looking, fires it late. That pass is boggled, caught incomplete. Intended for Monroe. Great coverage by Jake McCauley.
Nowhere to go. Burlington's defense is doing a fantastic job. Said it many times tonight, but you can't stop reiterating how good they've been. Coverage all over down the field. And more importantly, the pass rush. You see John Magada running right through there. You have to run to your right. You have to make an awkward throw, and it's not going to, if you don't like that thought of throwing that awkward ball, it could be intercepted, so you don't throw it in the first place. And then you have to keep rolling, and eventually just throw it, and not a good ball. It causes Watertown to basically be coming down to the last play of this
Not only
half.
Magada with a great pass rush, along with that has to be included Luke Lord and Tommy Spagunas beating their respective tackles.
Yep.
Now here's McDermott. 4 receivers in the
surprise.
game. Slot is number
There we go
10.
again.
Looking to his right, fires across. That pass is caught, taking a big hit. Slammed by the Red Devils.
It's an exclamation point in the half, Joe. Basically
As
how the whole
the
first
clock-
half sums up.
The clock ticks down, and that is the end of the first half as the Red Devils lead 13-0. All points coming in the first half as applause come from their fan section towards their team and head coach Dan McKay, as they're going to have plenty to talk about trying to preserve this lead, while across the field, the Watertown Red Raiders will try to talk things through at halftime and put some points up on the board.
Yeah, Joe, I'd say that Burlington Red Devils had a pretty good half, would you say? No points allowed. Really good production on the offensive side, even though there's only 13 points. Can't be like Mrs. First field goal PAT of the year, which is not so very surprising. But it doesn't matter because Burlington has this game under control. We'll see if Watertown's going to make any halftime adjustments, because right now, the way they're going, this is not going to be a fun night.
As the band starts to set up, that's the end of the first half. If you've been watching BCAT sports coverage of Burlington Red Devil football, I'm Joe Viscioni alongside Nick Bongiorno, and we'll see you at the start of the second half. Welcome back to the second half action of Red Devil football. I'm Joe Viscioni alongside Nick Bongiorno as we're just about to get started in some third quarter action of Red Devil football. In the first half, the Devils led 13-0 after some great contributions on offense led by Kyle Pena and Jake Doherty running in for the touchdown in the first quarter. Both were silenced in the second quarter. However, the Red Devils defense has really shown through in the first half of the game, allowing 0 points and only 80 yards of total offense by the Red Raiders. While on the other side, led by Connor McDermott, the Red Raiders are trying to get on the scoreboard for the first time of the night. Set back to receive this is the Red Raiders. On the other side of that is the Red Devils, who had a very strong first half. Nick, what did you see in the first half from the Red Devils that was impressive from them that you'd like for them to replicate in the second half?
Well, the Red Devils obviously had a lot of pressure on the quarterback. McDermott really couldn't do anything. He did have a couple of nice moments where he's able to step up in the pocket, run a little bit, or throw downfield. But other than that, really spotless by the Burlington Red Devils defense. It shows on the scoreboard along with 0 points, stopping them on most important downs. The offense has come through, and we'll see how the Red Raiders made adjustments in this halftime.
Here's Wheelock on a deep kick to the 5. That pass is boggled, and it is wrapped up, looking to be recovered. And the Red Raiders recover it, nearly stolen away by Jake McCauley. Nonetheless, the ball falls down at the 15-yard line.
Awkward-looking play, Joe. Campbell boots it down the field, couldn't hold on to it, and he just kept trying to recover it. He just couldn't do it. It was crawling to that ball. Eventually, he thought that McCauley jumped on top of that. There was 3 Burlington Red Devils to 1 Watertown Red Raider. So he somehow came out the end of it, and luckily for them, that's good because they would be really bad in that position, that field position, and down by 13 points.
Here's McDermott after doing virtually nothing in the first half. Fakes it on the play action. Here's the handoff to his man.
That's nice.
Up the field, across the right sideline, into the secondary, and down across the 40-yard line. Ball popped loose at the end, but still, nonetheless, great first down run by the Red Raiders. That was number 34, Andrade, who hobbles back to the huddle after picking up the nice carry down at the 39.
Nice hole opened up on the right side there. Offensive line doing their job. It's going to set them up. First down.
And
good thing to get the drive started off with the first down, just get the momentum going.
3 of the captains on this team proving to be offensive and defensive linemen, proving how valuable and how much this Red Devil team is focused on their offensive and defensive line as games are won in the trenches. Here's the handoff to Isnell, and Isnis is wrapped up across the 44-yard line before picking up about 5. So, Nick, we saw Shaquille Isnis get a couple good carries in the first half, but nonetheless could not find the end zone. What does he need to do to try to get through this Red Devils defense?
Not too sure. John Magada, a nose tackle, and other people, Burlington speedy players, Andrew Woods. It's not going to be very hard to get through, but they do right there.
He's up through the middle. Superior blocking from his offensive line brings him down to the 46-yard line. First down for his Nis, as the Red Devils proved to be too weak to stop the run on that play for the first time of the night, as they've been dominating the line of scrimmage defensively so far very early. What was a very quick first half starts to slow down in the second half with just about 9 minutes remaining in the third quarter, as both teams are yet to score. Here's McDermott as powder smokes on from the Red Devil fan section. Man in motion is 34, back to his Nis, who runs into his own man, collides with number 57, Romeo Josie, and that takes you back to the butt fumble style. Powder into the air. A couple people might get suspended for that. Nonetheless,
it's almost like Josh Gordon is here right now.
No.
Josh Gordon, The man who the Patriots could very much use in their offense right now. You know, he lights it up every time he's at the club. They had so many memes about him and his problems with addiction to marijuana, and it looks like that's in the air right now in Burlington.
Men in motion is Andrade. Here's the handoff to Anis. Ball popped loose.
It looks like
As he jumps on top of it, stretching out the right hand. The ball popped loose was by number 51, Luke Ward. He nearly forced the fumble. And Andrew Woods came in to make the late tackle as well, as smoke continues to fly throughout the air.
It's a funny tradition that they've come up with around high schools, not just Burlington, but we saw it in Stoneham last week as well.
And here's Anis.
Running two receivers instead this time. I'm just trying to
Two receivers sat, extra tight end in the game. Here's McDermott, man in motion is Andrade. On the quarterback keeper play. McDermott showing off those legs and down to looking to be just about the first down yardage across the 38-yard line.
So he might be a bit short.
Let's see, as they're going to probably come out to measure this one.
Hold the fist in the air, I think he's short.
So 4th and 1.
It's a beautiful play, Joe, right? He had me fooled. He looked like he was about to take it back himself to the right. He kept it, and he went right up the gut, right up the middle. And on 3rd and 15, Burlington's defense almost gives the first down. They can redeem themselves here with a goal, with pretty much a 1-yard stop. 4th and 1.
McDermott on the RPO, picking up 14 yards on the quarterback keeper play. Then in motion is Andrade. He's going to take it on the jet sweep. Picks up the first down and more down inside the Red Devil 35-yard line.
Yep, the blocks are very good right there. They had time to develop those blocks. And a very, very important 4th down conversion for Watertown to keep the drive alive.
So 1st and 10 for the Red Raiders as they pick up their second first down of the drive. Number 55, Chris Jones, jogs off the sideline, has provided some great interior pass rush for the Red Devils to work with defensively. Here comes the blitz, 5-man rush. Isnis takes it regardless up the middle and down inside the 20-yard line. First down for Watertown.
Yep, now they're pounding it. Now it's 2 straight first downs, and that's what they need.
Seems like
Burlington at that Red Devils defensive line. They're causing them to tire out. You keep running, keep going up to that line fast. Tom Brady for the Patriots does it all the time when they're in mode. Go up to that line, and the defense has a hard time getting their communication, their play right, and it's a lot better for the offense.
And Burlington read the right play, except they just blitzed up the wrong A-gap, leading to the big game for Isnis. Here's the handoff to Andrade, rounding the edge, and he is wrapped up for a tackle for loss. Great tackle made by the Red Devils. Number 7, Jake McCauley, making this stuff and proving to be one of the most valuable defensive players on this unit.
McCauley, what a play. He looked like he was going to get beat right there. He grabs him by his shoulders and pulls him down to the ground. Big loss right there, 4 yards.
And Nick shouts from this Burlington fan section make me reminiscent of last week's game against Stoneham, as their fan section was very livid and had a plethora of people shouting in that one. Now here's the handoff to Isno as he
doesn't have it.
And he's short. Did not have the blockers, and he's wrapped up by number 20, John Hurley. And John Hurley not proving to be a very big player by any means. He's not the biggest guy. He can't lift the most in the weight room, and he doesn't have the most on-field ability, but he does have a lot of heart and passion, and that's proving to be true tonight as he picks up his 3rd tackle in the game.
3rd and 12. See what they can do.
3rd and long.
You'd think they have to go for it. 4th down territory. Maybe go for a short thing right here and make it more manageable.
3rd and long with 4th and...
Yep, that's what they're doing.
Here's the handoff, and he is wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage. Great play. Tackle for loss on McDermott. And that brings up a 4th and 12.
I'm shocked by the play call. You're trying to run your quarterback up this ginormous defensive line, which has not been giving you anything, and you bring the quarterback in on a 3rd down. I would have ran maybe a play-action screen and get some yards back. and make it more manageable. Now they're set up with a 4th and 12, Joe, and this is a huge play in the game. Burlington stopped them here. That's a very long drive. This whole third quarter basically wasted.
Now here's McDermott dropping back on the 4th down conversion. No pressure, fires across, and that pass sailed too low, incomplete. Intended for his receiver number 4, Brennan Cook, as they turn over on downs with 3 minutes and 32 seconds remaining in the third quarter as the Red Devils defense continues to pitch a shutout.
0 points, Joe. It's a big improvement of all these other weeks where they were giving up massive amount of points. 2 straight times around the red zone area, they've just stopped Watertown from getting anything, and they didn't do that against Woburn where they got back in the game. Burlington now has the ball and a chance to really put this thing away with Kyle Pena.
The Red Devils still only with 13 points offensively. Here's Pena dropping back on the play action. Rolls to his right, fires for O'Halloran. That pass is caught in stride. Ryan O'Halloran, he is gone. Touchdown, Red Devils. O'Halloran, 3rd connection of the season. Going deep, over 62 yards on the reception, and the Red Devils strike first in the second half.
What do you like that, Joe? First play out, your defense makes a stop. What are you going to do? You're going to run the play action to Kyle Pena? Kyle Pena, dime down the field. Ryan O'Halloran has his defender with a head on a swivel. No idea where he's going. O'Halloran makes a catch right over the head of the cornerback. Runs down the field with his speed. No one's going to catch him. That's a 3rd straight touchdown for Ryan O'Halloran in 3 games. Unbelievable. Burlington probably just put this thing away.
And O'Halloran on that one could prove to be a very successful track athlete if he ever wanted to switch sports. As Wheelock kicks the extra point good, making the score 20-0 in favor of the home team in front of their crowd with under 4 minutes remaining in the third quarter as the Red Devils back on top with a comfortable lead over their opponents in the Watertown Red Raiders. A great completion there as Kyle Pena has proven the ability time and time out that he can throw it down the field and really push it for extra yardage. And that time, Ryan O'Halloran coming up big for the Red Devils. And putting up 20 points so far as their offense, Nick. But the story of the game for the Red Devils has been
0 points allowed.
Has been their defense. Yeah, 0 points allowed. As your offense has been doing well, but they've been giving them plenty of opportunities in this ball game.
Joe, with the team that's allowed as many points as they did in the first 3 games, coming out here on your home turf against Watertown and letting 0 points up basically through the first 3 quarters is an accomplishment and unbelievable play, to say the least.
Monroe on the return, cuts back outside, makes one man miss, but wraps up just shy the 30-yard line as the Red Devils special teams unit has been stout so far in this game.
Yep, they're not needing to squib it like they did all these first 2 weeks. They're just kicking it down deep, trusting that they're going to get there in time, and they do all the time. Absolutely twisting their men to the ground and getting what they need to right through the special teams blocks. Burlington, if they have not won this game already, Watertown needs to score right here if they're going to have any single chance.
Burlington with a convincing lead so far as smoke is in the air after the fan section chants and shouts in approval. It's been a long time since the support has been this high.
Always fun.
Here's McDermott, hands it off to his Nis. Fakes it. That pass is caught by Monroe, who takes the late hit and wrapped up by Jake Doherty. He's slow to get up. First down for Watertown.
They went in his legs. Not good to see.
Looks to be grabbing people like this. Looks to be grabbing his right leg. Getting up on his own strength is definitely good. That was number 18, Monroe.
He's trying to get up. He can't. He's
back down again. That is a lower body injury, something you never want to see. 3 weeks ago, a Bedford defenseman got injured. Ambulances were forced to come. Hopefully it's not the same fate here for Monroe, who's had a stellar first half and picking up right where he left off with the 15-yard reception for the first down. And that was one of the only first downs and plays for the Red Devils where it seems like they've really been fooled defensively, Nick. As game planning, they've really had a good idea of what this offense has been capable of so far in their 3 games this season.
He's trying to run it off. He was hoping it was not some sort of torn ACL. We've seen too many of those in football. Jake Doherty really hitting him low, and I thought immediately that it might have been a big problem as he went down to the ground. Luckily for him, he's on his feet.
Well, it's good to see it's not an ACL tear, as you talked about, Nick, but it was obviously not that at the start, as ACL and MCL tears are obvious non-contact injuries. I believe that's something along his outer knee. Could have been a meniscus injury or maybe just a bruise after taking that big hit from Doherty pretty low. 2 receivers stretched out to the right, double tight end set. Here's McDermott, as Innis in the backfield with him. Dropping back, extra blocker. Here's the carry up the middle on the quarterback draw as he picks up the first down and more into Red Devil territory.
Yep, he just, it's kind of funny. He saw the field very well there. He was confident in his ability. He wasn't going to get hit. He thought he had a first down. He looked at his blocks. He just took off immediately after that snap, but he did have that first down, so good interpretation there by Nick McDermott.
And speaking of injuries, shaken up on the right sideline for the Red Devils is number 44, Sean McGilvery, the linebacker, has seen his snaps diminish a bit with the emergence of Phil Nurse at linebacker along with Nick Campbell. Hopefully McGilvery is okay and able to get back onto the field as soon as possible. Now a man in motion, 3 receiver set. Here's McDermott. Man in motion is 34 over to Andrade. Picks up a few yards before being wrapped up the middle. Great tackle made by number 20, John Hurley, swooping in. As both teams go back to their huddles, and if you're head coach Dan McKay, you have to be pretty happy with this effort from the Red Devils unit. Last year going 1-10, and this year already with a 3-1 start. Definitely a quick turnaround from him. And it's safe to say on the other side of the football, the Watertown Red Raiders are not experiencing the same luck, especially in this ball game. There's a handoff to on the quarterback keeper play. He's wrapped up inside the 35-yard line as John Hurley makes the tackle on back-to-back downs.
They're down by 3 scores. They might want to hurry up. I'm surprised they're not going for pass plays. At this point, running the ball isn't going to do too much but waste all the valuable seconds off the clock. Okay, you're trying to get some momentum on offense, which you haven't had against this stout Burlington defense tonight, but sometimes you got to let it roll. Maybe you'll play action passing with McDermott here going for that end zone.
And the Devils, trying to preserve their home record so far, are 1-0 on the season when playing in front of their home crowd at Varsity Field. Stacking the line of scrimmage with a 9-man box. Here's the carry up the middle, and he is met right at the line of scrimmage emphatically by number 46, Nick Campbell.
Nick Campbell there again. He's always there when the guy's picking up steam, whether it's that or whether he's no momentum at all. He's always there in the gaps, ready to give a man of nice pounding in the center there for what he came in there for. You're not going into Nick Campbell's hole without getting hit, I'll say that.
I agree. Nick Campbell has been a thumper of a linebacker lately, making his presence felt as the third quarter comes to an end in what has been a very fast-going first 3 quarters of this ball game, dominated by the Burlington Red Devils in front of their home crowd as they lead 20-0 over their opponents in the Watertown Red Raiders. And the Red Devils, their offense has been pretty erratic so far in this game, as the cheerleaders trying to get their fan section into the game. Cheerleading coach Adrian Callahan has to be happy with his girls, trying to entertain the fan section as they seem pretty into this ball game already. Now back on the football, the referee is marking The ball just around the 38 to 39 yard line. Ryan Culhane back in formation. Haven't seen too many snaps out of him today. I assume that's a very good thing for a defensive back when you're not hearing your name called too much, as it only means that you're locking up your receiver and your opposite offensively. And Burlington, Nick, despite running the nickelback formation where they're a lot more quicker, it seems like they've done a good job so far without that extra linebacker of stuffing the run.
Put one man in coverage. Oh,
McDermott, ball popped loose, and it is looked to be recovered by the Red Devils. False snap, McDermott couldn't hold on to it, and just like that, Burlington regains possession.
Yep, it's all going south tonight for Watertown. They have not rebounded like the way Burlington has after their loss last week. They have been making mistakes penalty-wise. They have not been doing well stopping the run, stopping the pass. Nothing offensively, and right there when you're going down the field for the third straight time tonight, and you fumble like that on an easy quarterback thing, which should be routine at this point. The coach wants to pull his hair out. Burlington easily might have just won this game with the first play of this third quarter.
Happening rather fast. John Case is definitely not happy with his offensive unit after giving up their first turnover of the ball game. Now here's Pena. Jake Doherty on the outside edge. Doherty making one man miss.
Trying to make him fumble, not going to happen.
And he is going to be wrapped up by a plethora of Watertown defenders. Doherty having a pretty good ball game so far. Not as explosive as we saw him 3 weeks ago against the Buccaneers when he broke the state record for rushing yards in a game, but still a pretty great outing from the senior running back. Here's Pena as fullback. Is Jake McCauley, the safety. Both teams coming to the line of scrimmage. Watertown showing a 5-man defensive front. Pena taking his time. Dropping back. Here's the handoff to Doherty. Doherty wrapped up by the legs across the 44-yard line, about a yard short of the first down.
It's a gain of 4. Third down 1.
So 3rd and 1 for the Red Devils as they continue to stick with Jake Doherty, trying to melt some time off the clock as there's just under 10 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. 10 minutes away, Nick, from another Red Devil victory.
It's been perfect tonight. Everything could change in 1 second. Don't think it's going to happen, but really they've been doing a great job tonight, rebounding after that horrible game against Stoneham.
Here's Doherty on the carry. First down and across the 46 and 7-yard line. Jake Doherty continues to melt time away off the clock as the Red Devils continue to be dominant when it comes to converting on third down. Keeping the same personnel in. And over to Kyle Pena's right has been Ryan O'Halloran, who has had a stellar night despite dropping one pass in the first quarter. Got a deep ball in the second half, which really opened this game up for the Red Devils offensively. We'll see if Pena will have the confidence to go back to him later on. Pena taking all those extra seconds the clock can give him. Doherty on the carry, picking up extra yards. Jake Doherty wrapped up, good form tackle across the 42-yard line. And on this drive, as the Red Raiders seem to have no answer for the fast and electrifying Doherty. You know, Nick, I don't want to disrespect Tyreek Hill. I don't want to call anyone else the Cheetah, but I think the Jaguar, that'd be a pretty good name for Doherty at this point.
Yeah, why not? It's very fast, very agile. Jaguar.
So Pena in the pistol. He has the Jaguar behind him himself. Has an extra fullback in the game as well. Takes a handoff. Here's Doherty on the carry up the middle. Takes an extra hit, and he is down across the 35-yard line. Avoiding that late hit coming in from number 70, Joe Griffin, as Doherty proves to be elusive once again.
that time he's wrapped up pretty much, and Jake Doherty just gets there and just keeps running with the legs. Very powerful man. So call him the Jaguar Joe. Keep on doing that.
So Jake Doherty back in there, only 5'6", 160, but definitely seeming to be a bit bigger than that, as he's very agile and pretty powerful for his frame.
Yeah, they're wasting all the time off the clock. Just trying to end this game.
20-point lead for the Red Devils with 7 minutes remaining. Here's Doherty on the carry. Takes it outside, proven to show his speed. The Jaguar down inside the 20-yard line and out of bounds across the 17. Jake Doherty having his way on this drive. And if you're just tuning into this game, the score is 20-0 in favor of the Red Devils. I'm Joe Biscioni alongside Nick Bongiorno in BCAT Sports coverage of Red Devil football. The Devils coming into this game are 3-1 after a loss to the Stoneham Spartans, but are showing no sign of decline in their play after a strong first 3 quarters. Here's Pena. And the shotgun hands it off to Doherty. Doherty, and he's going to be wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage for the first time of the drive,
Joe,
as Watertown finally gets their hands on him.
Do you ever know if this guy's going to go down? He looked like he was about to go down and kind of kept on his feet. It's kind of like the Pages when they're down huge in games. Everyone else you expect to lose, but the Pages can make it happen. He almost did again.
Jake Doherty proving to be a very shifty and shaky defensive back. Here's Pena in the pistol. 2 receiver set, has an extra tight end in the game. Continuing to waste time as the clock continues to tick below 6 minutes. Pena back to Doherty up the left sideline. Doherty cuts back inside before being wrapped up inside the 14-yard line. Good carry for Doherty. And some excellent blocking by this Red Devil offensive line, Nick, who we've not given much credit to so far in this ball game, but they have been pretty dominant at establishing their blocks and paving those running lanes for Doherty.
Yep, paving the running lanes for Doherty recently, but really in the pass protection game, which has allowed them to be successful with the run as well. They were pushing people to the outside and not letting them get up the inside, and Pena has had so much space to run up in the pocket, so really good job, like you said, on the offensive line's part.
Here's Pena. Pena has an extra tight end in the game. Fakes it on the play action pass. Firing towards the end zone. That ball is dropped by Ryan O'Halloran. Must have had Vaseline on his hands because he was wide open. And as it just completely goes through his palms.
Oh, O'Halloran's been dropping too many this year. He's got that 1 touchdown pass. Wide open. Man, look, it was like a circus right there. Someone fell down, and O'Halloran's wide open by himself. Pena just throws it up thinking it's not going to be hard at all. And O'Halloran drops the ball too many times this season.
As the Red Devils go for it on 4th down, their 2nd time of the conversion tonight. Fakes the handoff. Here's Jake Doherty. Doherty getting around the edge, picking up the 1st down and more, but flag is on the field. Looks to be a holding penalty against the offense. I believe it's going to be on number 55, Chris Jones, the right tackle.
Yep, Burlington moving back. They kind of knew it was going to happen.
And that's going to be a 10-yard penalty. Play will not count. And the Devils get hit with their 2nd holding penalty of the ball game. And that's going to force it to a 4th and very long.
And they're not going to put Wheelock.
You know, Nick, I would love to see, I agree, I'd love to see Wheelock in here.
He's been kicking those 40-yard field goals. Why not? It's pretty much one game at this point with 4:30 to go. Why not give the guy a chance to show what he's done in front of the fans instead of just practice?
There's a chance that we could see a Tom Brady, Denver-esque type punt here, but nonetheless with the field position. Here's the pass. Pena fires, lobbing it deep for O'Halloran. That pass looks to be incomplete as he could not get the feet down. Made the catch on that play. Nonetheless, couldn't get his 2 feet in the end zone.
I couldn't tell who ended up with that ball. I thought it might have been intercepted. There was 2 people on one guy. Pena's pass was a little bit underthrown in my opinion. I thought that I saw someone left their hand on it, and then it looked almost as if they had the man open and caught it in the end zone, but didn't intercept. It's incomplete. And Watertown, maybe they lost the game already, but maybe why not try and get one positive thing in the game that they can go and review and score a touchdown.
4:21 remaining for the Watertown Red Raiders, trying to make this score at least respectable and operating quickly. Here's their offense as they take a timeout. And what is the game has only elapsed an hour and a half, one of the shortest high school football games you'll ever see, as the Red Devils lead 20-0 with just 4:21 remaining, as their defense has been dominant this entire game, holding the Red Raiders to 0 points so far. On the other side of the turf, the Red Raiders will try to get in for their first score of the game as a timeout is taken by the Red Devils. Nick Burlington has been very impressive in this ball game, especially defensively. What adjustments have they made when compared to last week in this ball game?
It's hard to say. I mean, every time, this has been very different offense tonight. Last week's offense was 2 plays. Either maybe or have the quarterback run the ball straight up or have another player run the ball 2 feet behind him, and the Bruins and Red Devils just had no answer. It's hard to analyze that. But tonight, they've definitely been doing everything that you'd want a high school team in general to do. They've been blocking well. They've been throwing down the field pretty well. O'Halloran made a catch and couldn't make as many as he'd probably want to. He wants all those balls to be touchdowns when he has a chance. He's still working on that. Dan McKay really has to be really proud. This is probably the best game of the season he's had as a head coach up to this point, Joe, giving up 0 points. And even though they haven't been the offensive powerhouse they were in the first game, I would definitely rather see a 20-0 shutout rather than giving up 33 points and scoring 43. It's a lot better play all around.
Definitely, and it's a pretty big confidence boost for this defense after giving up 0 points so far. Also, the fan base has to appreciate it very much. Burlington in the nickel, 5 defensive backs as they come in to make the tackle across the 24-yard line, as the interior linemen combine to make the stuff on Andrade.
Some concern for Sean McGilvery, as you said earlier, Joe. He's been on that bench seemingly this whole game. I wonder what happened to him.
Looks to be an ankle injury, getting that a little bit taped up. Hopefully McGilvery's all right. A great kid and with some fantastic on-the-field talent as well. As Nick tosses up some air quotes as well. As the clock continues to tick down, under 4 minutes remaining in the ball game. Dropping back is McDermott. Faces the rush. Has to run to his right. McDermott's going to use those fresh legs and goes out of bounds into the Burlington Red Devil bench. And this Red Devil defense being stout against the pass, as their pass rush has finally come together for what seems like the first time this season. Jogging back onto the field is McDermott and this high-powered offense.
Really? I now know what the line looks like.
Now here's McDermott dropping back. Faces on the wide receiver screen, and that ball is dropped by Monroe. And that brings up a 4th down as Monroe drops that one. With 3:11 remaining. A couple players jog out, as it seems like the Red Raiders.
Burlington looks like they're pretty comfortable. The fans, the
If
cheerleaders,
they
pretty
punt-
much celebrating the victory, Joe.
I gotta say, if the Red Raiders punt this one, Nick, I would be very, very surprised. 3:11 remaining. You gotta go for it.
Yeah. If they had a chance, I mean, but we'll see if they might want to call for. I think they're punting it.
You know, this almost reminds me of the situation when the New York Jets played the New England Patriots 2 years ago, and the Patriots were up 40, I believe it was 38-0, and the Jets kicked a field goal, and they really didn't need to. In this situation, it's a punt for the Red Raiders. You got to give your fan section some hope, and go for it on 4th down, as the Red Devils are almost certainly going to try to run the clock out and preserve their 4th win of the regular season. Undefeated at home and fired up is this Red Devil squad, trying to go 4-1. And the Red Devils' next game of the season, as we spoke about it at the start of the game, will be against Wakefield Memorial High School over in Wakefield at 7 o'clock next week. You can catch that game in our coverage, as Nick and I will both be there as the Red Devils take on the Wakefield Red Raiders as well. Now here's a handoff to Doherty up the middle. Doherty making a man miss. Up to the midfield. Jake Doherty wrapped up by the legs and down inside the 30-yard line.
Yeah, it's nice. You know, you're down 20-0. Jake Doherty, you know, he's been doing what he always does. You know, he's going to make those runs. He does good to get up the middle. 18 doesn't put on the play. He had a very bad-looking injury by Jake Doherty. He's like, you know what, Jake Doherty, you hit me low, so I'm going to grab you by the ankles and deny you the touchdown. So good play and hustle there, even when you're down. It shows character.
Jake Doherty already over 100 yards rushing in this ball game, as he is proven to be that every down type of tailback that you'd want in your offensive system. Now here's Pena, operating with plenty of confidence, already putting up 20 points on the scoreboard in this ball game. Wasting all the time he can, trying to let the clock tick down to the 2-minute warning. Motion in the middle. Here's the run. Jake Doherty picking up about 4 yards, 3 yards rather. Pushing it up the center, running behind his guard, John Magata.
Just give it to the Jaguars. Keep saying it. End this game.
So the 2-minute warning has been reached as the clock takes a little bit of a stop. And Nick, I think our name that we've given Doherty, the Jaguar, is a perfect fitting for him, as his speed and agility has been unmatched in this ball game, proving to be too much for this Watertown front. Brett Sutherland making the tackle. And led by Kyle Pena with just less than 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining, as the Red Devils are certainly going to run this one out.
On to win number 4.
And the Daily Times Chronicle had the Red Devils coming in with a 20-12 victory, as that proves to be pretty close. The Devils trying to get back on the board one more time. Now here's Doherty jumping back out to the right as he's wrapped up in the middle, led by number 75, Chris Peterson. And one more snap could be the difference in this ball game, as the Red Devils will certainly walk away with a comfortable victory at home in front of their fan section. And the Devils bringing a Gatorade container. If this went on McKay, I could not imagine this going very well. I'm pretty sure
he's not the type of guy to joke around about this. He's not the type of guy who celebrates them going 4-1. He wants to try and win something with them.
And I know Coach play of the game. And I know Coach McKay, if that went on him, they'd be doing sprints up and down the field on Monday for hours. Now Doherty on the carry up the middle, gets to about the 14-yard line before being wrapped up as the clock continues to roll down. And that's going to be the end of the Red Devil versus Watertown Red Raider football matchup, as Burlington proves to prevail with their 4th victory of the season and remain undefeated at home, led by Kyle Pena as the fans storm onto the field. And Nick, this game was dominated by Kyle Pena and his passing throughout the air.
Jake Doherty obviously just ended the game pretty much with his runs at the end. The end, I felt like one of the games, Daggers was Pena to O'Halloran. That beautiful connection that killed Watertown a bit last year. They just barely won the game last year, and Burlington this time makes them pay with a 20-0 decisive victory. A huge confidence booster for the season that they can do it defensively. They were all over the quarterback, McDermott, today. I think that Burlington is a spark now.
So the Red Devils now 4-1 on the season will be in either second or third place, depending on Wilmington's and Stoneham's outcome of that ball game, as the Red Devils proved to be too much for this Watertown Red Raider team. As that's the end of the ball game, we'll see you next week at Wakefield over at their varsity field. I've been Joe Viscione alongside Nick Bongiorno. We thank you for tuning in to this coverage of BCAT Sports of Burlington football, and we'll see you next time.